Hey survivors, it's Angie, and today at queenbeing.com we're going to talk about the body language of a narcissist. I think this is useful for us in a number of ways. Number one, it can help us identify narcissists who are currently in our lives. And number two, it can help us to avoid narcissists in the future. What could be better? So, let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and this channel is all about teaching you what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. So I've taken off my glasses because this light is making it very hard to record with glasses. So I hope you can still understand. I know I don't usually do this. Anyway, so today this is where I'm starting. Okay, I think that it's very common for us to miss narcissists for a number of reasons. One of the most common reasons I think we miss a narcissist and we accidentally fall in love with them or whatever is because while they are saying the things that they're saying, okay, when they're doing their love bombing and they're doing all their stuff, they literally fool us because they kind of mean what they say while they're saying it. Does that make any sense? All right. So we're going to go into a little bit of detail here and kind of talk about what all this means. All right. So you already know the basic characteristics of a narcissist. They're uppity. They have different little things they do. I think the most important thing to note here, the most common thing that they all have in common is that when it comes to a toxic narcissist or someone with narcissistic personality disorder, the most common quality, I think the defining quality personally, is the lack of empathy. Because since they don't care how you feel, since even if they know how you feel, they don't care, they don't feel it the same way you do, they will just do anything they can to kind of throw you right off. All right. So this is it. So let's talk about the body language. So when it comes to the body language of the narcissist, you're going to see a few things. Obviously, you're going to be seeing the way their clothes happen to look, especially if they're female or if they're, a certain type of male narcissist. But I don't think that that's really a really good indicator because perfectly normal people care about how they look too. You know what I'm saying? I think the biggest thing that you're going to see when it comes to body language, you're going to have to watch really closely. Okay, you will see that when a narcissist is jealous, they will often stare. You'll have to watch the mouth. The lips get very tight, and I can't even do it. These are other things. Another thing you might watch for is the way their feet point. Especially if you're looking for a cheater, their feet will point a certain way, like not toward you usually, toward the person they're cheating with you. Another thing that the narcissist might do is if he or she is angry with you or frustrated at you, they may not look you directly in the eyes. In public, they may stand a step away from you if they're trying to flirt with another person of the opposite sex. Um, you know, you might see like arrogant, haughty behaviors. You might literally see them stick their nose up in the air, or you might see them struggling to, you'll see a fake smile. You see that their mouth smiles, but not their eyes. I can't even do that one. I've tried to show you before. It's not good. These are things you can watch for, okay? So the first one we're going to talk about is posture, okay? Sometimes narcissists will sit with really bad posture. This is not always the case. I don't know that this is entirely, but typically they might lean to one side or the other. It may have something to do with covering their bodies. They don't want to be vulnerable. So a narcissist, in an attempt to prevent vulnerability, may either shield his or her body or lean into something when they are just sitting there. A lot of times when they feel attacked, you will see them fold their arms across their chest. You will see them just like anybody else. The fact of the matter is that that's not really an incredibly great indicator, except that you will see them do it at odd times. Okay, for example, if they meet your mother for the first time, they may find themselves, you know, or not smiling, or they won't look her in the eye, things like that. A lot of times they won't look you in the eye because it's a way of avoiding you kind of seeing into them. And when they do look you in the eyes, it's never the same way that other people do. So you might sit there and stare into their eyes for many hours, but what you often will see is that you'll be across the room and you'll catch the narcissist giving you the evil stare for some reason and you don't know why. That's a sign of a narcissistic abuser, the stare, right? Okay. Another thing, narcissists will use their hands a lot when they talk. Now, a lot of people do this, including me. Hello, I don't think I'm a narcissist, um, but the fact of the matter is that it's more than just hand gestures. They will often point, use their fingers to point at you and at people, and they will often get a little too close to your face. No bueno. So, something to think about. So, another thing is that their arms and their hands typically can't just be relaxed. They can't just fold their hands in their lap or whatever. It's always about getting, movement, but also in a way that projects authority. So instead of just, explaining their point with their hands like I'm doing, you know, they may stick their hands in your face. They may, shield their body with their hands, whatever. These are some possibilities for body language of narcissists. The fact of the matter is that mostly what you're going to see is you're going to see a defensive posture if you bring up anything that has to do with anything that makes them feel attacked or like vulnerable. Okay, and it will be things that are odd. You may also see them throwing tantrums or, silently or otherwise when you're in public, and you get more attention than they get. And that's almost universal across the board, even if you don't know exactly why they're doing it. Like, I had a client tell me the other day that somebody, her narcissist, like they went on some retreat with some other couples or something, and her narcissist was so upset about this because, and she didn't know why at the time, but they got back to their room that night and he was just ballistic. She had no idea why. And it turned out when as we probed into it, well, she had received a lot of attention from everybody there that night and he hadn't. They don't like that. Even if they're inverted or, covert narcissists, they don't really want other people to get all the attention. So it's something to think about. Look, in our society, it's usually safe to assume that most people have, a conscience and that most people have the ability to at least empathize, even if they don't consider themselves an empath, whereas they feel the feelings of other people, right? So, narcissists, at least the people who meet the criteria for NPD, and, sociopaths and psychopaths, also tend to speak in the language that we call, the gaslighting, that we the crazy making, the all of these things. They love projection. They love giving us word salad, gaslighting, all of these awesome things. And of course, you know, as all of this comes together, what it all rolls back to is pathological envy. What do I mean? Well, narcissists really struggle, especially with the people that are closest to them. Anytime anyone gets, has an accomplishment, anytime anyone gets too much attention, they lose it, right? So these people walk right next to us in life, and we don't even recognize them, as you know, because you probably fell into it, obviously, without knowing that it was a narcissist. And if it was your narcissistic parent or other caregiver, you obviously had no choice in the matter in the first place. But these people, wear their false self like a mask. Okay, they are often normal as far as you can tell. Sometimes they are charming and charismatic and like they're totally the life of the party, and other times, they can really kind of suck us in like we didn't even know it was coming. And y'all know what we're talking about here, right? Okay, so most likely, if you're sitting here watching this video, you've dated, worked with, or been related to a narcissist. Am I right? Maybe married one once or twice? I don't know. Anyway, the point is that you probably didn't know it when it was happening or while it started, but it happened. So, learning their emotional language is something we do every day around here, but it's not just their emotional language that helps you to identify narcissists. Here's the thing: there was a study done a while back, and they did all this research, and they had people look at photographs of people who had filled out questionnaires. Now, the subjects didn't look at the questionnaires, just the photographs. And here's something interesting: like 9 times out of 10, they were able to identify the narcissists above the other people, and it was based on body language and things like that. So the manipulation that we get from narcissists is obviously psychological and incredibly emotionally damaging. But I think what's interesting here is that if we look at their facial expressions, we look at their gestures, the tone of their voice, and of course the fact that their words and their facial expressions and actions don't always line up, That's where we can start to recognize them. Okay. You probably can see a liar up front, right? But even if you can't, it's more than just a liar for a narcissist. And we're going to talk about that. The cruelty from a narcissist is absolutely deliberate. And that is not something that you're going to see from non narcissists. Okay. So the manipulation, it'll devastate you. The cruelty, horrible. When you feel like you've been punched in the stomach, yeah, that's kind of what it feels like to be attacked by a narcissist or abused by a narcissist. It's verbal, it's emotional, it is the effects can be crippling. You can end up with post traumatic stress disorder or complex post traumatic stress disorder, and these things can last years. Okay, so you know the point is, narcissists are fluid, as it were. They are manipulators without a conscience. They are bullies. They live in your house and they're bullies. You literally live with your own personal bully or terrorist, however you want to see it. So they know about sadism. They know about control. They know about rage. They deliberately cut you down. This can best be likened to like the tiny, I don't know, like 1,000 tiny cuts to kill you instead of one big one. You know what I'm saying? I know that sounds really dramatic, but just bear with me on this. It's slow and insidious. At the same time, it's really fast and hard. You know what I'm saying? It's like a constant torture. It's like psychological and emotional rape. Okay? So what it all comes down to is your boundaries are basically eliminated. They are constantly violated again and again. You keep pushing them back further and further until you have none. And of course, whether you know it or not, the narcissist can attack you at any given moment with rudeness, sarcasm, mean statements about you, shifting the blame onto you anytime they do something that's not acceptable. What it all comes down to is that the narcissist will collect their the information that you share with them during love bombing. When you go through that phase, they look for any insecurities that you might have. They look for secrets that you haven't told other people, anything that you tell them. When you first meet them, they're like, oh, like I'm so sorry that happened to you, la la la. But they learn that's something that's going to trigger you for the future. See what I'm saying? So they have no limits. There are no limits to what a narcissist will use to manipulate you. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. All right, that's all I've got for you today. Let me know if you have any questions about this or if you can identify any narcissistic body language issues, okay? We're going to talk more about this in the future as we go, all right? Questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you soon for another video. Have a wonderful day, and thanks so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon. It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.